Hey, what's up guys? This is Joe from Analog Archive back with another vinyl video. Today's video is going to be another edition of the Blue Note 4000 series project that I've made quite a few videos on already. Again, I really appreciate being a part of this series. Thanks to Sherv, Rob, and Dave for kind of letting me be a part of this series and just how this has evolved since April. The one that I'm going to be showing today is 4144, Little Johnny C, Johnny Coles. Johnny Coles was an artist that really did not have many sessions on Blue Note. I believe this might be his only session as a leader. He did appear as a sideman on Am I Blue, Grant Green, which I believe was around this time as well, like the early to mid 60s. But yeah, he was not really a very prolific Blue Note artist overall. And but this session is definitely a great one to kind of debut. So this has Johnny Coles on trumpet. Leo Wright plays the alto sax, and then on one of the tracks he plays the flute. Joe Henderson is on tenor sax. Duke Pearson's on piano, Bob Cranshaw's on bass, Walter Perkins and Pete LaRocca are both on the drums. So Walter Perkins is on the A side, and then Pete LaRocca plays on the B side. There are 6 tracks that appear on this album. 5 of the 6 are Duke Pearson originals. The only one that is not a Duke Pearson original is the second song on the A side, Hobo Joe, which was written by Joe Henderson. As Sherv had said in his last video, Joe Henderson is really starting to heat up now. He's starting to appear on a lot more sessions, and as we kind of continue to move through the 60s, Joe Henderson is going to appear even on more and more albums, whether as a leader or as a sideman, and he really is the main tenor sax choice for most of these albums. His tone really fits in well with a lot of these albums. He's not really being pushed into a certain area of like being like soul jazz or plays more melodic or anything like that. He really is very proficient in all areas of playing, whether it be very fast, sporadic playing or very slow, kind of like ballad-like. And so, as I said, 5 of the 6 tracks are Duke Pearson originals. Duke Pearson was a very prolific composer. A lot of the albums that he was on, whether he was a sideman or as the leader, he did have quite a contribution in most cases, where he contributed multiple songs to the album. So if we started off with the A side, Little Johnny C was the opening song. A real great way to start out the album with very real fast playing by Johnny Coles. Great tone on the trumpet for him. Leo Wright was on alto sax on that, and he really, in my opinion, he was really the star of the album. I really enjoy this. It's just my opinion, but I really enjoyed his playing on this. He, for whatever reason, was the only one that was not on the front. He was part of the etc. Somebody had said, I think it was Dave, a few videos ago, when he was talking about I can't remember what album he was discussing, but he was saying that a lot of times when they said etc., it was because the artist was part of a different label. He was signed to a different record label at the time, and so he couldn't appear on the front, but it was perfectly fine for him to be on the back. So you will see him credited on the back on the alto sax and flute, but again, he's not being given the credit on the front cover. But again, I think he really uses his time wisely that he's given. Most of the tracks are not terribly long, 5 or 6 minutes, most of them, and so he really makes use of his time very wisely. And of the 6 songs, aside from the closing song on the B side, So Sweet My Little Girl, the rest of them are mid or high tempo hard bop songs. That closing song being the only one that's like a ballad. And so the next track is Hobo Joe, which again was a Joe Henderson contribution and composition, and it's another real fast moving kind of song. This has a little bit more of at times like a Latin feel. The tone, the sound of the songs are not just a traditional one. It has a little bit of a unique sound. It still fits into that hard bop sound, but it's a little bit different than what you hear on a lot of albums at this time. And then the closing song, Jano, another Duke Pearson one, another great original by him. Again, most of them are fast tempo, real great sound to it. My Secret Passion is the opening song on the B-side. It's the only song that Leo Wright plays the flute on. The rest of them, I'm pretty sure he plays, maybe wrong, maybe another track that he plays the flute on. But that one is very pronounced. He has a distinct flute solo about midway through that track. And then when it comes to the middle song on the B-side, being my favorite song, called Heavy Legs. Again, another Duke Pearson original. And the tone of that right out the gate is real fast moving. And it's really all over the place with how it kind of starts. And it's a really great track that sets up the solos really well. And my favorite kind of hard bop songs are the ones where the song starts out with a real great fast moving kind of tone, and it's almost like a train that's slowly getting up to speed, and then when you finally get to the solos, that's when it really just takes off. And that's really what you hear on that song, that Heavy Legs, where right out the gate you hear that amazing tone from Johnny Coles, Joe Henderson, Leo Wright, and it just sets up the solos really well. And then the closing song, So Sweet My Little Girl, was written for Duke Pearson's 7-year-old daughter, Cynthia, and that's, again, is a ballad, much slower paced, and it only actually features the rhythm section, so it has Duke Pearson, Walter Perkins, and Duke Pearson, Bob Cranshaw, and then Pete LaRocca on the drums, and then it's got Johnny Coles as kind of a soloist. He's the only one that really solos at the end. Duke Pearson does have a little bit of a piano solo, but for the most part, it's about a 6-minute song, and most of the song is just Johnny Coles kind of almost paying tribute or kind of just playing for Duke Pearson's daughter, and then Duke Pearson kind of gets to play a little bit of a solo at the end, and so Leo Wright, Joe Henderson don't feature on that last track. So this was recorded in July and August 1963, and then was released the following year in March of '64. So quite a bit of time it took for it to come out, but that wasn't really uncommon for artists that especially were a bit more kind of new on the scene. But overall, this is a really great album, and really worth picking up if you see it. It is a difficult one to find. I really don't know how many represses there's been of this. Again, this was a album that did come out at the time, but was not one that was probably hugely popular, based on the fact that you've got a new guy on the scene as the leader, Johnny Coles. You've got Leo Wright, who again was not even someone that was part of the Blue Note label itself. And then you've got some guys that are up and coming, that are really starting to kind of pick up steam. Joe Henderson, Pete LaRocca, Bob Cranshaw, all those guys are really starting to become big in the early 60s, 62, 63. Duke Pearson had been around for a few years now, but again, this was not one that probably sold incredibly well, and so there weren't really a whole lot of represses. I was very lucky enough to find this one this past summer at the place in Rochester that I find a lot of my really great jazz at Bop Shop Records. This is an original mono on the New York USA labels. It's deep groove on the A side, and then the B side, it doesn't have a deep groove. But yeah, so just a really great original of that. Sounds amazing. Again, I was very fortunate to be able to find this one, not only in the condition that it was in. I mean, it was not a cheap album, but it was definitely one that, again, because it was unique, it really fit well into the style of jazz that I really liked. That the hard bop sound that it had was really great. And I was happy to be able to pick that up. So again, this is Little Johnny C, Johnny Coles, 4144. A really great trumpet session. I really wish, or trumpet led session. I really wish that he had more albums, not only led, and maybe I don't really know a whole lot about him, but maybe he did have more sessions in the 70s or something. But again, not really a hugely prolific person. Leo Wright, another guy that did not have a whole lot of sessions, but a real all-star lineup, especially the rhythm section. Duke Pearson piano, Bob Cranshaw bass, Walter Perkins, Pete LaRocca drums. All those guys were really great players on their respective instruments. But again, a really great session. One that doesn't really get a whole lot of attention, but worth picking up. So again, Little Johnny C, Johnny Coles, Blue Note 4144. So that's it for that. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next final video. Bye.